Okay.
So I just want to say welcome to everyone who's joined and maybe anyone who still wants to join. This is part of our Campus2Career initiative. The whole purpose behind this is to help young grads, young professionals, and even school children who wants to know what is the know-hows of how to get into the workspace and different topics on this. So today specifically, we're looking at future-ready skills, and we are joined by Mecer Ed. I just want to say thank you for everyone at Mecer Inter-Ed that is presenting this webinar today. Okay, so over to you.
Thank you so much, Grizani. And it's an absolute pleasure to be with yourselves, your team, and everyone else who's decided to take this opportunity just to have a bit of a look at the AI space, and more specifically the skilling part of it. I think this is one time in our lives where a lot of people have the opportunity to make a difference within different communities, whether it's in your community, whether it's in your school, whether it's in your business. It's that time, and the tools have generally been given to us. But I'll get into that as I go into the presentation. I just want to start by introducing us as Mecer Inter-Ed. So we are a skilling, basically training and certification organization, delivering IT training across multiple verticals. From your corporate to your government, the corporate space, looking at your financial industry, insurance, mining, oil and gas. We do training across multiple organizations. I think as it stands, we're servicing just over probably 1,000 different organizations. And more than just skilling, what we also do is running of learnerships and internship programs. This can come in a form of funded programs by the likes of your Microsofts, your Google, your AWS. But we run quite a number of funded programs. As it stands, I think we're running one from a Huawei point of view. I'm not going to go into too much into that. Our business unit manager, St. Mary, might touch on it. But it's corporate training and skilling. It's the learnerships and internships. But just to ensure that we go full circle, I'm sorry, guys. Just need to put on my headsets. I have a bit of a noise in my background. My apologies on that. Sorry for that one. Hey, kids. All right. So yes, and the third leg of our business is talent management. So over and above just skilling individuals and running learnerships and internship programs, what we also try to do is ensure that individuals are placed in employment. So it can be contract employment. It can be individuals who come from our different programs, where we empower more enterprises and also allow them to, make use of resources that we've either trained from skilling programs or individuals to assist in their different programs. We have Natasha as part of the meeting as well, who will touch on this particular aspect of the business. All right. So Mecer Inter-Ed covers training across 17 different, vendor technologies. We're talking Microsoft, we're talking AWS, we're talking Google, CompTIA, Cisco, Huawei. So all across. So these vendors cover, your cloud technology, your data analytics, artificial intelligence, service management. So we make sure that we cover each and every aspect of the ICT spectrum. But over and above these, we're also able to deliver on some customer requests. It might be a technology that is not currently on the spider diagram, but we have the benefit of having trainers who are multi-skilled and are able to deliver training on technologies which are over and above what you see in this particular screen. All right, so I think I've introduced myself, Bongani Hlatshwayo, taking care of the Microsoft and Google business. And just to go back to what I spoke about at the beginning of the meeting, generally with these sessions, there's always a crowd sitting in front of me, and I always ask this question: when do you think AI started? I get a lot of people talking about 2022, 2020, 1995, 1996, but AI has been in our midst since 1957. Yes, 1957. I think the difference has always been in the fact that it's never really been in our hands. We have facial recognition, we have voice recognition, we have document scanning and imaging technologies that that have been existing now for the longest time. But the biggest difference is that all of these technologies were sitting in OEM's hands. Over the last couple of years, we've seen quite a huge change in the AI space where most of these tools are now available to any individual who has access to the internet. If we look at 3 years ago, there was a huge buzz on ChatGPT, which was just basically asking questions to a chat. In a space of 2 years, we've moved into agentic AI. And what's even scarier now is that we're moving into autonomous agents. Essentially, that means that you will have an agent that will either be working for you, working alongside you, or fulfilling certain processes and functions in your absence. So I need you to just take a moment and just think about how that world looks. That basically tells us that the world of working, the world of learning is changing at a drastic pace. Now, the question that people always ask is like, what does this mean for me as a normal individual? I might just, have finished school and looking at getting into the AI, into the technology space. But my worry now is like, where would I actually go? From school, from university, I have a degree. Same question. It also speaks to us as individuals who are currently working. We've been working for the longest of time. And with all of these changes, the biggest question is, where do I fit in? So for me, I want us to think about AI as a mechanism for us to be able to solve problems. I mentioned that this was in the hands of tech giants, vendors, and big corporates. But now all of this is in our hands. Over and above that, when you look at the world of training and the way in which training is available in so many different platforms, we literally have the opportunity to skill and certify in AI. And this is not only for your standard IT professionals or your developers. There's a huge space that has now been opened. I'll give you a simple example with the Microsoft technology. So from a Microsoft point of view, we run training all across from Microsoft Azure, Azure infrastructure, cybersecurity, data and data analytics, AI, including cybersecurity from a Sentinel point of view. Now, if you look at how Microsoft is moving, a lot of AI is being incorporated in the current portfolio of training. You look at Azure and the Azure platform, where you don't necessarily have to have a full-on understanding of writing a script. But if you're able to put together a nice prompt, you're able to fulfill certain tasks that a senior individual who's probably been in the industry for 10 years plus has been doing for the longest of time, purely by just putting together a functional prompt. You look at the data space and data science. We work with quite a lot of data, and artificial intelligence, simple example, Copilot, has allowed us to, again, be able to just put a simple prompt that will look at all the data records that you might have within the organization and be able to fulfill any function, or let's say most functions that you ask it to do. You look at cybersecurity, similar with that, in as much as, from a Sentinel or, making sure that you're able to check anything that is happening within your network. It's always been a bit of a manual task, but with Copilot, you're able to literally put together prompts that could essentially fulfill processes and tasks, like sending you an email of high priority, security breaches or high priority security um, uh, activities that have been seen within the network. All of this from a basic prompt. So for me, it's to say the world has opened up in such a way that everyone needs to be involved. You look at AI for business, over and above IT professionals and developers. That Microsoft has also now embarked on AI business certifications, and these certifications are aimed specifically at individuals who might not necessarily have the IT skill behind them, but want to understand what they can do from an AI point of view. And these certifications allow you to do that. Certifications specifically focused at AI transformation leaders within the business. This can be someone within any department, HR, finance. Basically teaches you how to use artificial intelligence, but also then looking at the various business cases that exist within each and every department. And that's where we start speaking about personas to say, as a marketing professional, as an HR professional, as a finance professional, what tasks can I actually get, my artificial intelligence to do for me? It might be reconfiguring a basic process. It might be pulling data and putting it in some sort of Power Platform application that is linked to either sales, linked to HR, linked to finance, literally anything. So basically, there's literally no end. It's now up to us to actually take advantage of these technologies and platforms that have been put in front of us. You look at Google and you want Google Education. Google as well is doing quite remarkable work. The vendor in South Africa is not as big as it is, as Microsoft is in South Africa and internationally. But there's quite a lot of meaningful work that they've been doing. And if you look at the likes of your Chrome Enterprise, you look at the likes of your Gemini Enterprise, there are so many tools that are readily available. So the question now is, where do you see yourself? Are you an IT pro who's been in the market now for the longest of time and looking at an opportunity to enhance your skills either for a new role, a promotion? All of that can be covered through all of these AI, platforms and tools that we have in place. And from my end, I have a huge portfolio from a Microsoft point of view. I have a huge portfolio from a Google point of view that also touches on, your data, your cloud, your machine learning. And at the end of the session, we'll just paste the link to our learner management system, just to have a look at some of the courses that we have available. So our learner management system takes our Microsoft official courseware and basically cuts it down into snippets for you to just have a high-level overview of different aspects. It might be on Copilot. You might want to know more about the Azure Infrastructure Platform. You might want to know more about cybersecurity and Sentinel, identity access management. We actually have quite a number of courses, and everything is for free for you to view. There's assessments. And I think this also kind of gives you a breakdown or a preview of what the full course entails. For now, I'll leave it at that. I think I've actually gone way over what I was supposed to speak on. I'll be handing over to Sinmarie. But I think, information will probably then be shared from a Manpower point of view. Thank you so much for allowing me this opportunity to just take you briefly into what Mecer Inter-Ed does and the portfolios that I manage from my end. Sinmarie, I don't know if you're ready to come in.
Ready. Thank you, Bongani. Appreciate it. I think I've also learned a few things, especially of when AI has been available. Very interesting. Thank you. So welcome everyone. My name is Marie, and I also focus on areas like cybersecurity, AI, networking, and cloud technologies. And this is through partners like SitNexus, Checkpoint, Huawei, and Veeam. So today I just want to keep things simple and practical and talk about how you can build the right tech skills to stay future ready and actually land opportunities. So let's start with AI because everyone's talking about it and it's definitely changing jobs, but it's also creating new opportunities. Yes, th- I think the important mindset shift that we have to have is AI is not replacing people, it's replacing certain tasks. So the people who understand the technologies will have more opportunities. For example, companies need people to secure their systems. They need people to manage networks. They need people to protect their data and systems. And they also need people who understand how to work with AI. So I think the real question is, are you ready to work with technology or compete against it? So I want to speak about in-demand skills across almost every industry. The same core tech skills are in demand. So I just want to simplify that for you. From a cybersecurity point of view, they always need protection from hackers. From a networking point of view, keeping the systems connected, cloud and data protection is when they need to manage and back up their data. And AI and data skills is understanding and using intelligent tools. So I think the key thing to remember is every company today is a technology company. Banks, retail, healthcare, all of them depend on these skills. So when you learn tech skills, you're not limiting yourself, you're opening doors across all industries. So I think you might be thinking, this sounds great, but where do we start? So I'm just going to break it down simply for you guys. As a beginner, I think you learn basic IT and digital skills. You explore intro courses in cybersecurity or networking or AI, and then build on those skills. Do short courses, get hands-on practice, start working on certifications, and then you move on to specialization, specializing in certain paths. So pick a path, cybersecurity, networking, cloud, AI, data, any path. And then I think the key point for me here is certification help prove what you know. It's not just what you've studied. So also important that I want to talk to you guys about today is using AI tools the right way. That's my next topic. So this is very important on how to actually use AI tools like Copilot, for instance, because these tools really help you to learn faster. It can help you build your CV, practice interview questions, understand complex topics. But I think here's the warning. Don't use AI to avoid thinking. So we always have to double check answers, try to understand what you're learning, and use it as support and not as a shortcut. So a simple way to think about it is AI should make you better and not dependent. So from a certification and learning pathway perspective, this is where we come in, me, Asans, and Bongani. Different tech areas have different learning paths. So from my vendors for SitNexus, they focus on AI, data, and emerging technologies. Checkpoint focuses on cybersecurity careers, while we focuses on networking and infrastructure, and Veeam focus on cloud and data protection. But you don't always have to start with paid options when you're doing your certifications. There's also free platforms like Bongani mentioned on our LMS system, vendor websites. They also give free training. So I think the goal is simple. It's just to start learning and then build proof of your skills. And then staying competitive. Let me leave you with a few simple tricks to stay competitive. Build a LinkedIn profile, work on small projects, even at home. Practice with labs. Labs is very important in the IT industry. Try to earn at least one certification a year, and then stay curious and keep learning. Um, in tech, things always change, but learners will always win. So I'd just like to leave you guys with this one thought. I'll be closing off with this. The future belongs to people who never stop learning. So whether your path is AI, cybersecurity, networking, cloud technology, the opportunities are enormous. So start small, stay consistent, earn your first certification, and then build skills that the employers value. Thank you, guys. I will be handing over to Asanda Mbali. Thank you, Asans.
Thank you so much, Marie. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Asan Mbali. I manage a few technologies here at Mecer Inter-Ed. Some of them are on the screen. So APMG, AWS, CompTIA, PeopleCert, which forms ITIL, which forms part of PeopleCert, Linux, as well as Python. So I typically describe what I do as the bridge that connects our customers and partners to the right training solutions. And I work very closely with our vendors, but also with the great team here at Mecer Inter-Ed. APMG and PeopleCert that looks at IT service management. And then you have AWS, which has a focus on cloud infrastructure and security. CompTIA, which is vendor agnostic, and this is where most of people's IT learning journeys begins. Obviously, if you have a tertiary education, that your degree would be your solid foundation, and then you move on to certification training, which is most in demand these days. And I often say a degree gives you the great foundation that you need for your career, but certifications, which is what we offer, gives you the skills that employers are looking for. There is a massive drive for employers to have the right skills as technology evolves. For me, with more than a decade in working in IT, I've had the pleasure of sitting in the front row seat, experiencing how IT has evolved over the years. I think when I began working in IT, we were managing physical email service, for example. But now things have shifted to cloud, which most infrastructure or some infrastructure for most businesses are hosted on the cloud. So those skills then are very much in need, which is what we can assist with both in training, but as well as exam for the certification. We are a Pearson VUE authorized exam center. So if you wish to write your exams, you're more than welcome to contact us and write your exams here in our Midrand offices. So as Bongani mentioned earlier, that AI began back in the 1950s. In the 2011s, you had the introduction of Siri, for example, for those who use iPhones. So that was, AI in your hand, and you started to almost get a feel of what the future would look like. So fast forward to 2022, which is when we started getting access to OpenAI. And then from there, things just started accelerating so quickly. Following that was the boom of also generative AI, where you could use AI to create content or to improve your own content that you've created. Again, just to avoid what Sinmari was saying, is not to replace your thinking, but to enhance it. And now we are in the phase of agentic AI, which is using agents, as Bongani mentioned, using agents either alongside or working with agents to execute certain tasks that will alleviate some time for you to do more important work. A week ago, I read a piece by Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella, where he was talking about how developers, for example, will move from developing to actually playing a role of an orchestra. So you will have specific agents who are built for very specific purposes, who will then be executing tasks. And your task then is not to develop system, but it's to orchestrate agents to ensure that you run an effective business and profitable business. In terms of vendor training, sorry, before I move on from that, one of the things that Senator Nadella said on that piece that he shared on X was the fact that if you do not upskill yourself right now, in the next 3 years, you'll be playing catch up, essentially because technology would have evolved so much. And we have seen in the past 3 years, I mean, I mentioned OpenAI in 2020 to now working with agents. So in the next 3 years, there will be a completely different set of technology. So I urge all of you to start your journey now. From an AWS perspective, we have everything from foundational training in AI, but also in cloud in general, and all the way up to a professional level. CompTIA has also added some offerings on AI. So there are offerings AI for everyone, where you learn essentials of AI, AI prompting, as well as agentic AI as well, which speaks to every crowd. So if you're curious about AI, which is a buzzword that's going around, but the point here is for you to start your journey now so that you're not left behind. From an AWS perspective, we also have great tools that are free of charge that we can use to, for example, analyze a organization's skills gap that is free of charge. So if you are already an AWS partner, we can use that tool to do a full-on assessment of what your organization requires in terms of skills. But equally, we've got another tool that we use built by AWS, which is called the Learning Needs Analysis. That tool is focused more on teams. So if you are part of a team and you would like to assess your team members or your staff, that we also have a tool for that, which will assess based on skills that those people currently have, but as well as skills that they would like to acquire in the future. And then we give you a great full solution free of charge, and then we can then start your training journey. CompTIA also has a skills assessment tool, which is called the ITIQ, which is again is free of charge. If you're an employer or a manager who would like to assess the staff skills gaps. So I think that's where the journey for some might begin. If you already have an idea of what you want to do, but not really sure what path to follow, you're more than welcome to contact myself, and I will then give you advice on the various technologies that we offer here at Mecer Inter-Ed. So I would like to thank you for your time. I tend to get very passionate when I talk about training, more specifically AWS, so I could talk the whole day. So I'll rather stop here for now and just encourage you, if you have any questions in regards to IT training, to please contact me or some of my team who are here present today. Thank you so much. Oh, handing over to you, Natasha.
Yeah, all right. Tash?
I think we may have lost Natasha. Maybe there's a connection issue.
All right. Okay, maybe I'll just close off. I want to get into her space too much, but just maybe to speak about the two logos that you see. I'm sure quite a lot of individuals already know about MICT CETA, where MICT CETA provides accreditation, which is SAQA aligned for NQF level 3 and 4, I think 5 as well. But there's been a huge change. Maybe we can have another session with Tasha just to specifically look at the changes that have come about. If I'm not mistaken, there's been a retirement of some of these NQF level qualifications now at the end of June, from an MICT CETA point of view. But as Mecer Inter-Ed, we are one of the first QCTO accredited organizations. And what this basically means is that we look at specifically IT and IT skilling. Now QCTO will require you to write a trade test. So now you've attended a course. Previously, you just do a summative assessment. The assessment would be signed, would be marked off and submitted to MICT CETA for you to get your qualification. The difference now is that with QCTO, you basically go through a trade test, whether it's on cloud computing, whether it's on your technical support. There's a list of accreditations that we are accredited for, where we are able to confirm that you understand and you are capable of fulfilling all the requirements of that particular qualification. Over and above IT, we are able to also, provide assistance to other industries, whether it's an artisan with the various different programs that you might have gone through. We are able to then provide that assessment from a QCTO point of view. That's essentially it. I'm going to leave it there. We'll most probably maybe just ask to have another session with Grizani and Tai. Grizani, I don't know, should we open the floor to questions? I see you have a slide here for Q&A.
Hi, everyone. So if you have any questions, please either raise your hand or put them in the chat.
Yes, Natasha, I think you can talk. I've added you as a speaker.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
to me.
All right.
Finally, shame. Thank you, everyone. What a privilege just to speak to you around our youth. I did take note in terms of our youth asking, how do we actually get into opportunities? There's so many graduates unemployed, and yet every single employer is asking for skilled delegates. But just to set the scene, thank you very much. For over 24 years, I absolutely had the privilege working with a lot of employers across South Africa with regards to talent recruitment, implementing learnerships, building sustainable workforce solutions, and so forth. But I think when I recently attended the Joburg University in terms of entrepreneurs, the question was really, what are we doing about our youth? Our unemployment rate is currently sitting at 32.7%. It's approximately 4.7 million young South Africans unemployed. So where's the gap? The gap is really between, I would say, getting those skills into the workplace. We have enough talent. It's just getting the pathway into the working environment. And for us, I think from a Mecer Inter-Ed perspective, we've created and we've designed skills programs where it really speaks to the work of the future, workforce of the future. And the future is software developers, cybersecurity, data analysts, future engineers. It doesn't matter how you look at the situation, but we have found a way in Mecer Inter-Ed where we create skills programs according to the sectors, the business sectors, whether it's mining, whether it's banking, whether it's insurance, and so forth. And I think everybody looks at proof is always in the pudding. So we've trained over 4,300 delegates, and our placement ratio within that was 90.8%, which tells you we are creating a talent pipeline for businesses, which speaks to each business needs. I think it would be very, what our graduates are learning from universities at the moment is very behind in terms of where technology is moving. And hence, we as Mecer Inter-Ed have made that stance to say, let's develop a curriculum for you, whether it's AWS, whether it's Microsoft, whether it's Huawei, whatever the case is. And we've been very successful in those programs. I think the question always will be what skills employers need tomorrow. It all depends on industry. It can never be a generic crossover across all of them. But I can truly recommend our team. We're very passionate in creating that skills for the future. It's not about just today, because whatever happens today changes tomorrow. And I think what we've done very well is to prove with statistics that we've made that change. Also, when I look at a program that we've been running recently, is She Can Do IT. We know ICT roles fulfilling by females, only 23,000 females are within the ICT space. And we started to create programs within to support our females in the ICT space. And these are females that doesn't just have an IT diploma or so forth. I think with our background and experience and our team together, where it starts with the recruitment, with creating those skills programs, with aligning with business, it's made a real impact. When I just look at the program that we've run, She Can Do IT, with the transformation to females into ICT, when we took these 10 ladies with different backgrounds, different areas where they come from, we managed to place 9 out of 10 of these ladies, and also equipped them with certifications, whether it was Microsoft, AWS, and so forth. And out of them, they've actually gained permanent employment. And I think for me, it's not all about the talk. It's really about showing that we showed up in terms of making the difference. There are so many training companies out there. We recently gained our TCTO qualifications. We have now become a assessment center for TCTOs, especially in the ICT, whether it's cybersecurity, data analytics, and so forth. And we're very proud of this. It wasn't easy to get those certifications or to be certificated or branded to be able to produce these qualifications. So yeah, for us, team, thank you. I don't think one company can make a difference. It's about having all of us together to make the difference out there. So thank you.
All right, Guzani, opening up the floor again. Thank you so much, Tasha, for coming through and just pushing through that message of the passion and the difference that we're trying to make within South Africa, and curbing this high unemployment rate, but ensuring that we are able to provide individuals with the required skills that businesses are looking for. And this is not only from an ICT point of view, but in different aspects, which, yeah, I think in time we'll most possibly be able to start talking about as the business grows and changes. With that, Guzani, I just hand over back to you just to open up the the floor for questions and comments.
Okay, so if anyone has any questions, please put them in the chat, or you can raise your hand and I can unmute your mic. Maybe if you have any questions about the different types of certifications, I see there's a hand. Just a second. Okay, I will unmute you now. Okay, you're unmuted.
Thank you so much for the comprehensive presentation. My name is Nonhlanhla. I'm coming from the education sector. I'm a coordinator for life orientation in Gauteng. My interest is, as a life orientation specialist, I want to know how could we, us as a public sector education, how can we collaborate more effectively in ensuring that the socioeconomic factors don't widen the skills gap for young people entering the modern job market? We have a lot of learners who are not skilled. Some of the learners, they are certificated, but then in terms of the soft skills, the AI skills, you find that there's still a lot to go. So I just want to know about the collaboration, even if maybe we take another session even after this meeting, but my interest is that of collaboration. Thank you.
Okay. Sunday, you want to go first? We'll go A, B, S.
No, thanks for money. Thanks for a question, Nonhlanhla. Yeah, I mean, I certainly feel there's a room and an opportunity to reach the youngsters, some of them while they're in school, because CompTIA really the training is set or set up in a way that it takes people with no skills and school leavers and takes them through the training, which will cover all the fundamentals of IT up to a point where they have specialized skills. So I think, yeah, I would like to have that conversation with you to see how we can collaborate, but also see how we can bring our different vendors to possibly contribute to the type of change we're trying to bring about.
And Asanda, if I can just add to that, I think what made our skills programs very significant is, and I know it's not always a possibility to have learners on site, but in the time, especially with the skills program, when we designed it according to business requirements, these learners are with us in an incubator model. So every day we check in with them, we monitor them, we assist them, we support them, we make sure that they are part of a community within their class, and that has made a huge difference in terms of the virtual training. I know it's not always possible to do the face-to-face training, but it's made a significant difference in terms of being a support in terms of the soft skills and so forth. We all know everyone comes from a different background, different community. I mean, we have had learners from Limpopo, KZN. It's been an amazing journey just to understand the backgrounds of the different learners and what university teaches the delegates from a KZN perspective is very different from a Limpopo or a Gauteng perspective. So yeah, it's really given us a lot of insights, and yeah, we would most definitely want to set a session with you to discuss this further. Thank you.
All right. I don't see any additional questions, but yeah, I guess, Guzani, you'll unmute anyone else who has a question. Just opening up the floor again.
If you feel like you would rather type out your question, you're more than welcome to, then I can read out your question. Just while we give some chance for people to type their questions, I also like to mention with all the knowledge that has been shared from Mecer Inter-Ed today, I also like to add from a recruitment perspective, it's always great to ask when you go to an interview, ask the interviewers, is there any gap in my CV that I'm not aware of that I can improve on for the future? It's also about seeing an interview as an opportunity to learn, because sometimes we walk away from an interview and we have no idea why it didn't go the way we wanted it to go. So it's a great way to really prompt people who's in the position of power to give you some advice. Yeah, and I see Bongani has put in the link for the LMS. I've also seen this LMS and it's really, really amazing. I don't know. Thank you guys for that. And in Tlantla, I will send you contact details for your session.
I think, and thank you for that. I think, you know, with regards to interview feedback, so many people don't ever get back to applicants or delegates with regards to interview feedback, which is very sad. And I think for us, it's been very different because we have control over the delegates. We have that leeway in terms of asking what worked and what didn't work. But I've seen lately what is happening in terms of CVs being presented to clients. It's very AI generated. You can immediately see the difference, and people can pick that up. And I think with a lot of graduates, especially when they're still learning and they're graduating from university, they already mention in their CVs they are skilled, but yet they aren't. I think one of the things I didn't mention was we do, before we actually onboard any learners or graduates onto our skill programs or learnerships, we actually put them through a IKM. Most of you would be familiar with that. IKM Assessments is an online tool, but you are getting measured amongst the world in terms of your age, your skills and so forth. It actually gives you a total report of where you are. So say, for example, I had to measure you on problem solving. It would give me, once you complete that assessment, it would give me an overview of where you're at in terms of problem solving, where you need to work on, where you are lacking. This is a service we do for free when we assist any company with onboarding graduates and so forth, which helps a lot. But we always share this with the delegates so that they know where they can actually work on. And I think, you know, if you think about, and I don't know who actually have matriculants or grade 9s and so forth, I always say that, you know, one should be talking to grade 11s and then second year students to actually give them a pathway of where they should go. So many graduates that I've been talking to said that my Google said that I must go into engineering because there's a lack of engineers. And yes, it might be that, but in the interim, technology is changing so much in terms of what you've got to teach. And I think from our side, we've really been supporting our graduates. And everybody's scared of AI. We recently assisted a huge financial banking institution whereby we presented AI training 4 hours a day for all their employees. Most of them didn't even know AI existed, didn't know how to use it. You don't have to be an AI engineer to understand AI. So yes, it's about just everyone online to reach out to us. If you do have questions, please let us assist. I think we want to say a lot this evening, but the time is very limited. But please reach out to the team. Thank you.
Natasha, I think there's a question there for you in the comments from Zanele, who's asking, what is your target audience, grade or age?
Target audience, I deal a lot with the youth, but from an employment perspective, I mean, it's any employer or industry, but from a youth perspective, the age is around, well, I would say 18 to 35.
Maybe just to add as well, Natasha, our LMS is a growing platform. We're constantly adding additional training content. And I think one thing that we've also kind of gotten questions about is specifically on, your school learners and how we could potentially support them. So there is quite a lot of content from a Microsoft education point of view that I've seen that speaks to the likes of your responsible AI, AI for your STEM subjects. So those are the type of, that's the type of content we're also looking at potentially adding onto our LMS. But yeah, maybe a discussion can be held with yourselves, Zanele and Nonhlanhla, in a separate platform. I see the time is almost up for us. But yeah, you can come in, Zanele.
Oh, sorry about that. My mic was muted. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for that clarification. So I work with Nonhlanhla, but I am her subordinate. I'm responsible for Johannesburg Central District. So our target or our client is the learner, and we support educators. So for them to participate, I wanted to know what is the preferred grade or age so that we can sensitize them to how to use AI for academics, AI for creativity, or have ICT tools to respond to unemployment, and also create e-commerce or e-businesses to counteract unemployment. So that was where the question was coming from. But also, if you deal also with out-of-school youth, that would be potentially our grade 12s who are leaving this year, and our previous cohort 2024 to 2025, because there are learners who are not at school, but it's not easy for us to reach them. So I think with myself and Nonhlanhla, it's for us to work with you. It's let's first understand how even us as specialists and educators can benefit, so that when we take this opportunity to the learners, we're able to support and mentor them as they participate in the program. Okay, thank you.
Right, no, thank you, Zadile, for that. Now we'll expand. Maybe one last. I know literally have 2 minutes. I see a question from Leanne. Today I was attending the Google Cloud Summit, and one of the questions that was asked to the panel, and it's something that we also see quite a lot, is the impact. Maybe it might not necessarily be impact, but the question was, which business cases are you getting? And this was a question to one of the managing directors of your professional services organizations, which basically service, banks, oil, mine and gas, insurance organizations, and the answer was processes. So the biggest impact that we're seeing right now is processes. I mentioned that we moved away from, well, not necessarily moved, normal ChatGPT to generative AI. Now individuals are using AI, specifically in businesses, to look at processes that they have and how they could potentially, change, improve, or remove. Maybe there's a different way of doing things. And I think that's the opportunity that AI has also presented to say certain processes don't necessarily need to be in place. We just need to look at a different way of working using the tools that we now have. So yeah, I hope that answers you. Okay. Just one last thing, Leanne. Just go and look at, just search AB-730 and AB-731. Those are AI business certifications that are now out from a Microsoft point of view, that are now speaking to individuals who are not necessarily tech or IT pros, but people who want to understand IT processes and how they could potentially then use it for productivity processes and automation. Thank you, Gruzani. Sorry, should have said that. Done.
Hey, so I think we have reached the end, and I just want to say thank you for everyone's questions, everyone's feedback. It was really amazing, and especially a big thanks to the Mecer Inter-Ed team. You guys are amazing, and we love what you do for the community, for the training, for the IT space. It is really admirable.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.